You know, there's a lot of wonderful things about raising a child with special needs, but there's a lot of challenges. And it was very tough in that as a parent, it feels like you have to fight a lot of battles to get the things that your child needs.
He was hard to control. We couldn't take him anywhere. Church couldn't handle him, school, and then when he got that diagnosis, it helped give some answers, but it was still a little bit of disbelief.
I mean, I'm not going to be here forever, and that's my single biggest fear for the future is how's Tom going to handle himself and carry on and survive in the world of typical people when his parents aren't around anymore.
I don't know if we were going to make it through it. We were kind of at the end of our rope.
The ARC Larimer County guides individuals and families through a complex system of support through advocacy and education. We also assist various agencies to locate essential resources to ensure that people with intellectual and developmental disabilities have the support that they need to be healthy, successful, and included in every aspect of community life. Lack of childcare options for Misty's son was preventing both her and her husband from being able to work full-time.
I am Jake Shell's mom, and Jake is a student at Laurel Elementary School, and he attends the base camp here. There's a lot of things that, as a parent with a child with special needs, you don't even know they could apply to you. One day our advocate just said to me, he's like, well, why doesn't Jake just attend base camp like everybody else? And I didn't even know what base camp was. It's just a before and after school program for all the kids.
I first met Jake and Misty last winter. Misty had reached out, and you know, I could tell she had been through a little bit of a challenging experience with trying to find a place for her son, and a place that not only would take her son, but that she also felt comfortable having her son.
We love Jake!
Not only do I get to work full time, but I get to feel good because I know he's just with his friends, just like everybody else, having a good time. And so that's been wonderful, very rewarding. You know, the ARC of Larimer County has kind of finished putting the pieces of the puzzle together, along with the support that we get from base camp. It's been the missing piece to make our lives here for Jake more comfortable and to feel more supported and more engaged like everybody else and their children. You know, just feel like we fit in here and this is where we belong.
The ARC of Larimer County provided guidance and understanding of Kim's educational right as a parent and her role within the special education process. This knowledge helped Kim to better advocate for her 3 children who each have a disability.
My name is Kimberly Aguilar-Polly, and I am a proud mama of Javier, Isabella, and Marcus. I remember when Javier was first evaluated by the school and first got the educational diagnosis of autism, and that kind of shock and, well, what do I do with this now?
I really had a hard time of they accepted me, but I have a hard time of talking to people.
Individual education plan development is a very intense process for a family. You have 4 to 7 school professionals sitting at a table with you as a parent. Oftentimes you're the only one that is not part of the school at that meeting. A team is really talking in an educational lingo, and a parent can feel like they are isolated in those meetings.
It was difficult sometimes because I wouldn't have the right words, or I wouldn't really know completely what I was trying to ask for. And so I would oftentimes leave those meetings just very frustrated.
So Kim and I sat down in my office and we pulled out the individual education plans for one of her children specifically, and we went through that individual education plan from the very first page to the very last page.
And I felt, after that, I felt extremely empowered, like, wow. And the teachers were like, wow. All of his teachers, when they see him now, from when we ran into his kindergarten teacher a few weeks ago, she's just blown away by the transformation. Marcus, He led his first IEP. Isabella, she did a presentation in school on her vision. Javier, he went out for freshman football this year. And the support that he got, the social skills that he gained, invaluable.
Dolan's system of support was unraveling. He was not seeing his friends and was on the brink of losing the apartment that he owned, which meant he was facing not being able to live on his own as he had for the past 21 years.
My name is Dolan Nuss. I'm a member for 25 years.
So as my role as an advocate, I really think it's important to have the individual be present at all of their meetings and make sure that their voice is heard.
We had so many problems. They would not listen to me when I had to say. My friendships were falling apart.
At that time, we had just heard that there were just some challenges going on with Dolan being able to communicate with his team, and it sounded like there were some big decisions that were coming up, and he wasn't able to give input into those.
I almost lost my apartment.
And there was talk about moving home with his parents or possibly a host home, which neither of those options were what Dolan wanted, because he lives independently and owns his own place, and that was really important to him.
Dolan has so many pieces of systems. He has his HUD program for his condo, and he has his residential services. He has his vocational services through work, and it all has to fit together in order for him, to live independently.
Where I wanted to just pack up, take off before. Look at where I'm at now.
I can't tell you how much better it was after we had people from ARC at our meetings. I think it helped to have somebody pushing us in a direction so that we could start picking up the pieces and going on and figuring out what we were going to do. So that really helped a lot.
Sometimes barriers cannot be solved by helping one person at a time, but is a broad systems issue that acts as a barrier for many people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. The ARC of Larimer County provides systems advocacy to make sure that people with IDD have the same opportunities as every community member. 85% of adults who have intellectual and developmental disabilities are not working, not for the lack of skill, but lack of opportunity. The ARC of Larimer County initiated a legislative bill called Employment First, which seeks to decrease employment barriers and to increase employment opportunities for people with disabilities throughout the state of Colorado.
Through my interactions with the ARC of Larimer County and advocates and certainly individuals, persons with disabilities who are directly impacted by these issues, I've learned a lot. I've learned that there are lots of barriers to helping folks who want to work in a community setting. There are lots of barriers that get in the way. 80% of folks are unemployed, I believe. And then if you factor in, if you consider underemployment, I mean, then that percentage is higher.
So he knows what he needs to do every day. He gets organized, he gets dressed, gets cleaned up, gets his lunch made, gets out the door. It's good to see that kind of adult behavior.
People with disabilities are truly producing great work out of Columbine, and our customers enjoy it. They have told us specifically that they decided to go with Columbine because we are supporting people with disabilities in the workplace.
This is perhaps a little bit unique, and so I think a gap that we identified is how do we engage, how do we provide appropriate incentives for private sector employers, so the type of work that folks are doing here in Columbine Health Systems and other places in Fort Collins, it becomes more of the norm.
My own favorite thing is doing filing in the workrooms, both up and down.
Luckily, in Tom's case, his skill set is a perfect fit for the job he does, and he also enjoys it. And so the payment that he receives for the services is absolutely legitimate. And we sit with him and say, you have a car because you can pay for it.
I have a Nissan electric car that's cherry red, and you plug it into your home car in the garage.
And I think that it really does impact our overall employment base. People really truly enjoy working with all of our employees with disabilities. I think that everybody's very productive together, a very diverse workforce.
More than anything, it's getting out and getting the exposure to other people that is the thing he would not be getting if he wasn't working.
I have found in my direct interactions with the ARC of Larimer County that it's an effective organization.
I think just having somebody behind us that could help us out just made a world of difference for us.
And so the fact that he's interacting with adults other than his parents and his siblings on a regular basis is huge.
Some of the things that came about because of our contact with ARC changed all of it dramatically, not just for Jake, but made my job as a mom so much easier.
Because you guys help me trust that it's okay that I can let them advocate for themselves, because I'm not always going to be there. And that's hard. I think that'll always be a hard piece, but knowing that I can trust that, because there's services like ARC of Larimer County and it's going to help them. They're not going to be on their own.